Hi.
Deeper than yours.
No, I don't think so.
It really is.
I'm even gonna boost it up so that it's like mine is like it's like
No, but
short
my voice
man
is
syndrome.
very. Yeah, it is. It is. It's your ego again.
Oh man.
Hello.
Hi, person of egoic structure, Silindile Xhakhaza, superwoman extraordinaire,
Oh wow.
future philanthropist, future billionaire. Like I'm calling it all. Future first of something.
I received
A
that.
corporate warrior.
I received it.
Don't hit the microphone.
I'm
corporate
sorry.
Warrior. I say warrior and you wanna punch things.
So I need to show you that I am. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How you doing? I haven't seen you, my good friend, in since pre-COVID.
I mean, years before then.
No. I think maybe I saw you the year before COVID.
No, I think it was way before.
Trust me.
Because I'd moved already. So I'd moved. So definitely, maybe I think.
I started RadioDR.
When?
You were there at the beginning of
2018.
RadioDR. I was like, okay, it's probably 3 years ago.
2018.
Oh my God.
I think it was really 2018. Because, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's been a while.
It's been a while, friend.
So we need to talk about you growing up and what that's looked like.
What do you mean? What's that look like? I've just,
No, it's very
gone into
impressive.
a hole.
Uh-huh.
I've gone into a hole. I don't go out much.
Why?
I mean, one, living is expensive. Have you
It
seen?
really-
It's like 500 rand to leave the house if you're not going to work. It's horrible. I've even learned to make my own cappuccinos.
No, excuse me. Let's talk about your fancy coffee making obsession. But that's not it. I want to talk about, candidly, about your growth.
What do you mean by growth?
I mean, self-actualization. I mean, who you were 2018. And maybe I'm talking about myself too,
Yeah.
because there's a whole lot that's happened in between that, and that continues to happen. Thank God for therapy. I really
Shout out to
advocate.
you.
I really
We
advocate for
working on your mental health.
I
here at
really think it's
GTVT.
important. Otherwise, we just go around projecting.
Yes,
Right?
and just go through therapy in whatever way, shape, or form. It's important.
Okay, let's talk about why you're saying that. In whichever form or
Some
shape.
people find it therapeutic to sleep on their dead mother's bed. Some people find it therapeutic to walk on the beach. Some people find,
Let's go.
that they're... Because all it is you being alone, essentially. Wherever you get to be alone and in and outside your thoughts, that's growth. The more moments of life you're able to be in that state,
Right.
that's growth.
Okay, but do you believe that you have to go back to go forward in terms of your growth?
Have you heard of the Sankufa?
No, what is that?
Sankufa. It's a mythical African bird. It flies with its head back and there's an egg on its back.
And what?
It flies with an egg on its back and it's looking at the egg while it's flying.
Oh, cute.
So what it represents is that though we're flying into the future, we need to...
Constantly look back.
Yeah, so I did a lot of that and just like, I think I really started taking like family meetings seriously. Hey, Silo, what's that? I was like, okay, I'm going to go, and just... If you're aware of yourself, you notice that you feel better after spending a few hours with your family.
And I think for me, that's also one of the things that I probably didn't prioritize, but I'm a feeler naturally. So everything for me is always meaningful. Like a hangout, it's such a big deal to me. Whereas other people kind of see it as like, oh, it's a casual thing. But for me, nothing is ever casual. But family also feels like that now. I feel like I take my family seriously.
Yeah.
And again, therapy as a form of healing.
Did you have did you have weird perspectives on who your family members are to you and the relationship caused by, and what did that cause? Did you ask the question before? Did you have a weird perspective in which you felt the individual family members relationships are what they should be, and then versus what happened?
No.
What was the problem?
I think there's not I think I know. So I'll say I think a lot, but what I actually mean is fact, because context is my life.
Because the thinker is the thought.
Come on. All right. But I realized the language that was kind of always spoken in around family or generational stuff. So there's always, every family has got a conflict of some sort.
Underlying drama.
Awazi ukuthi kwenzakalani. Awazi kodwa nje kune, there's always something centered around vele phela back in the... So I knew that I didn't want that for myself. And sometimes we inherit izinto zabazali nababangazazi that they inherited from somebody else. And it's like there's this layer of because I'm spiritual and I'm a believer, so I'm going to use the context of Christianity.
No, 100%.
There's always like this, the enemy is always trying to cause division within families, and whether it's conflict ongayazi or it's about jealousy or all these things that are negative, right? So for me, I identified that when me and a really, really good cousin of mine were in a disagreement and we didn't talk for 3 years.
It happens.
No, but for me, that is absolutely abnormal. It was out of character.
No, you didn't speak to her. You were actively
I just never
energy to not. When you think about it.
No, but so when the conflict happened, I just put it at the back of my head and I was like, okay, cool. Ngoba ngihlala kude vele ayikho into ezongihlanganisa nayo. So I was able to avoid not seeing them.
Sure.
But eventually then it bothered everyone else and they kind of reconciled. But I value my family and I want to know that I'm willing to put in the work in making those relationships work that I do with other people.
Yeah.
So in friendships, I'll put the effort. In relationships, I'll put the effort. But it was so casual for me to go whatever with my family because I knew that was standing love and it was unfair. So the change in me happened that I actually the people who would die for me, I hope, are them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pour into that as much as I can.
100%, because you have to look at what your safety net is. You have to trust that it still works. You have to go down to the bottom floor before the crowd comes into the circus and inspect each pulling and tension of the safety net, and then realize, oh no, there's a large hole here. If I fall at the wrong spot, I could fall right through here.
Yeah.
Let me mend this hole. And if you look at each point where the rope crosses as an individual relationship in your family, sometimes those holes really do move so further apart that you're the closest person that can see it and have to be. Like, you're placed in the position where, fine, you're too young to do this, but because you're family, this is a lesson that you're learning way earlier than other people, you know. So. And
there's a responsibility there then, right? Because a lot of the other stuff that happens that cause conflict is I make assumptions.
Yeah.
And I act on those assumptions, and it's not a fact, it's an assumption. And so we conclude on people or situations without actually going to ask or without actually confirming with another person. And that can cause deep hurt that we cause for ourselves too, because I was to what it is that's bothering you other than something that you made up. And so there's an intentional part of and a responsibility that you have as a person to go, if I'm awakened to something, I've got to.
You're woke.
Yeah, well, I hate that term, but...
Like brand, like you say the term brand.
Like, what is that? Anyway, so I think it's important that, when you're awakened to something, you actively are conscious of your actions as a consequence of that.
100%. So that's, I guess, what you could call growth, is being aware that every action I make affects something through time.
Yeah. And it really does.
Every single decision. Sometimes it's the fact that you're able to do a project at work in 3 minutes as opposed to 3 days.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a consequence of just putting in the hours in college or before you went to college because you're just interested in the thing that you still do today.
Yeah.
So, like, a decision is big. Sometimes it's you not getting a job because you said fuck you to a girl you used to smash. It was like every decision comes back.
10 years, 5 years.
It's not even a coming back thing.
Yeah.
Every decision is just gonna do what it's going to do.
Yeah.
It's gonna affect something in time, for better or worse.
But also that's a big thing, right? Like, to actually say that can make people scared.
But it does, but you have to ask the questions. Then again, it's like what I was saying. Why is me saying this making you scared? Because it's the whole. If you go to, and I'm gonna go straight to it. You can't make rape jokes. I'm like, no, you can't just come out and say that, because now you're missing, because you've said that. What if you've now taken away that one joke that was gonna use a rape so well as a topic and underlying effort to change so many minds about rape?
Sure.
Because now we're not doing any, because it maybe could have taken that specific joke that is banned to free the world or to free a population or a group of people to why did you now we're banning because you were offended in the
but
because that one minority was offended.
But I can understand that. I can understand what you're saying too, right? But at what cost?
Let's look at the room. There's 3 people in the room that are offended. At the cost of 3 people in a room of 100.
The 100 that are now awakened to...
No, 3, because if you speak to rape survivors...
Yeah.
They'll know that you ask them, how do you deal? How do you...
Yeah.
And not even rape, I think trauma survivors, to just put it out into space. If you speak to them, those that have survived, they'll tell you, I learned to live with it. They know that there's a that happens when there's a trigger, but at some point you have to let a trigger stop being a trigger. It has to be even if it's because
I don't think it will ever
it won't go away.
I don't think it will ever leave, but I also don't think the extremities of raising an issue.
Because I'm talking about a nuance. I'm not talking about somebody playing with them. I'm talking about a serious comedian who's actually researched and is really good at comedy.
And then we'll take something.
And paint the whole picture.
I mean, they do that with race. They do that with race, and that's a serious... But I just often don't know. Because I just don't know if... And I can get what you're trying to say, right? Around raising issues. Because Trevor does it really well, right?
100%.
Where you're able to take a serious situation that really costs and impacts people's lives.
Dave Chappelle recently with the transgender thing, I felt it was a very great way to paint a picture.
I just don't know if it lacks the sensitivity that it needs. And I don't want to censor people, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for someone who's a rape victim, right? For you to be there and to hear, whether you're in the room or whether you're listening otherwise.
100%.
For somebody to kind of, and not because you're belittling it, right?
We're not saying your feelings are not valid.
The 100% are.
That's not what we're saying, because I think that's where the fight is because it's okay. You're meant to feel like this until you heal from the trauma. And I'm going generally to 100%. Trauma because I don't want to stick into a rape. I can't speak for a rape victim.
100%.
So I want to go to trauma. If something outside of your body can trigger traumatic thoughts, you have to work on yourself. I believe you have to work on yourself
100%,
because we're all human. We all have, even if my trauma is not as bad as yours, it's still the energy of trauma.
You're right, and to a certain extent I still feel the level of sensitivity, and that's just a me thing. But
that's why you're going how the earlier when
the how is important for me. Like it's one thing. It's like when someone tells you that they love you, how they say it. And anyway, let's not get into that. I wanted to talk about
why not? Go there. Your thoughts is fully there.
Oh no, I wanted to talk about why you would say that and why for me it makes sense that you're saying it as an artist. So as a creative, not an artist, as a creative. Okay? I'm gonna use that term. So my line of work and where I'm at.
You can't label me.
I run alongside or facilitate a poetry slam and all the artsy stuff and creative and reading and whatever. I know. So one of the things that I find deeply insightful and beautiful about those spaces is it allows people to express. And I, as a listener, when somebody's doing poetry, I do not have the right to stop because something is offending me. What it does is it allows an opportunity for something heavy to sit. So you'll have in a poetry slam, and I mean, I work in high school. So you'll have in a poetry slam, a child is ohambi okhuluma lapha and ikhuluma ngokuthi they're a rape victim, for example, or abused or church or whatever. Whatever it is that it invokes in you. And then I guess that's what you're trying to say about comedians as well, when they're in that platform.
If you're able to look at it, once you understand it's an art form, I think that's where people, because I think a lot of girls, I'd say more girls that I've bumped into in my lived experience.
20,000. Yeah?
It's not true.
Yeah.
It's 2. Most girls I've bumped into in my lived experience just are generally like nonchalant to comedy. Like, whereas like guys generally kick out, oh, you heard the new special. Like generally I've never walked into girls talking about, like, girls only kicking out about comedy. I'm just saying that's never happened in my life.
Okay.
Yeah. Not that it doesn't
Very
happen.
unfortunate for you. Okay.
So in my thing is like, okay, so do you see it as an art form until you've actually become a connoisseur of it, because then I
Yeah.
don't feel like there's this type of, when you're able to pick the type of jokes that are gonna make you laugh, you're
Yeah.
at a certain level. So until you look at it as an art form, then you're not gonna, because that's the same thing Eminem was saying. It's like, Doug, I'm speaking about it. This is like a movie. It's an art form. I said I shot him 55 times because who the hell shoots somebody 55 times, dog?
Yeah.
Well, it's
And
like
it's an
it's an
exaggerated-
exaggerated
Yeah.
dramatization through the sonic art.
Again, as a creative, you are able to understand because that is almost in part intrinsic, right? Like it's who.
Yeah, it's how I don't.
No, 100%. And that's how your world is very colorful. Like the way in which you were able to describe anything. I can be like, oh yeah, that's pretty black and white. Or do you see? So the way in which you articulate and understand. So let me tell you why I say that.
Yeah.
So for me, in the context of I'm going into a poetry slam, there's a part of my brain that understands that I'm in this context, right? With comedy, it's the same. There's a wire within me that
100%. There's a box.
you,
Yes.
on the other hand, everything for you is in that lens, right? And so it's about, and I'm making an assumption here, but it's about also,
That's true, by the way.
I'm not bad at reading people, but like I think we also have to be cognizant of how diverse people are, and their diversity comes in that too. So yeah, people mustn't be offended if we're gonna make a trauma joke. I get it, because in the context of someone who gets that, I do. But there's a way in which I can reach Usli if that is not.
Yeah, see, sometimes, because here's the thing, okay, because the way to reach Usli, sometimes I'm just walking down the road and
Yeah.
I see your whole entire problem, but I don't have the time, care. I've got my own life, Slee.
I know.
I've got my own life.
Okay.
But I know that if I make you snap out of your fairy tale world and make you feel a certain way today,
Yeah.
in a year, in 2, in
You'll be
5,
better for
you'll
it.
remember those words. And those words come with true intention, because if they really bother you, they're going to stick with you, and you're going to look at them, and you're going
Yeah.
to look at them, and you're going to look at them till you find the truth in the words.
Yeah.
Forget the emotions. Forget the emotions. Find the truth in the words.
Yeah.
And if you're always so much up your ass that you cannot stop to look at the truth, because I am not a non-kind person.
Yeah.
But if you're not looking at me, if you're looking at me from surface value, you can walk away with that information.
Okay, so do you agree when the conversation we were having earlier, and it was about the how?
I get you. I get you. The how is about,
Not
but
about-
I'm not. Sometimes I'm not trying to be there and drag you along with life. I'm
Right.
saying, Uguti, there's a lesson you haven't learned here, and
Oh, ego.
it is because Silo, the person in this body, is the person that's learned the lesson and is
Yeah.
now telling you, I am making a big deal because, hey, maybe somebody made a big deal in Silo's life. But
And that is.
And I know, like, it's, what is it? Embarrassment is a sort of psychological pain.
And fear of failure, right? And also it's, so when I say the how, for me, it's, and I guess when you've worked on yourself, you can take that. Oh, okay, something, hold on. So here's the other part though, just for the context of the conversation. If somebody is doing something wrong and the intention is so that that person learns, is it the first time that you're saying this? Is this the third time that you're saying it? Because should it be different, the way that I raise
It's
the concern?
different.
Okay.
There's a way you joke around with an intern. Hey, when
Okay.
we party, when I'm going to coffee.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh my gosh. I hope you don't do that.
No, I don't. They naturally realize that they're working with the guy Timber. And they're like, sir,
That
what can I do to help you? Shout out to all my my slaves.
I absolutely feel for them.
Shout out my slaves. They love me. Call every single one of my former interns, and they'll tell you the amount of wealth and knowledge with this.
That you learn.
Because I'm CeeLo. I can't.
Because it's a shared thing though, right? Like
Yes.
you learn from them and they from you.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Because I'm not. I have to. Sometimes I'm like, why are you feeling like that? Why do you think I'm pushing you down? Because again, embarrassment happens in your head.
Right, it does. 100%. That I agree with.
So I know embarrassment is happening, and sometimes the embarrassment is not as deep as you think it is.
Yeah.
But because I
We
know,
internalizing it
because
that
I
way.
know that you're gonna take it as deep as you think it is in this room where nobody cares about what you're thinking. I know that because I know you. I am touching you inside. I am touching you inside to go to your país.
But okay, winter
Because all embarrassment moments today that I can look at in my points have made me who I am today. Yes, I had to unlearn a few things that were caused by the trauma of embarrassment. But most things are fine. Most things were like your friends going, hey, dude, we don't do this over here. Hey, dude, how could you not know this?
Yeah.
Hey, dude, how could you? I can't like phrase it down to a bunch of things. But this is why I'm saying if you have trauma from what I said, let's talk about it. But most people don't. They don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So do you care enough to talk? Do you care enough about yourself for me to care about you?
But I think there has to, and this is why, anyway, this conversation ended up happening. It's about healing, and it's about processing whatever was normal. Because I think everyone walks into the world and you walk into what is perceived as normal, what is perceived as the standard of being, right?
Conditioning.
And it is social conditioning where it's acceptable for me to behave this way. And so when you're different, you don't fit into...
Or even better, because I identify as this, it's acceptable for 100%. Me to behave like this.
Also, it's easy for us to fall into the trap of whatever is already existing and is normalized, right? So then we become... I just follow whatever is normal.
We become the pattern.
Exactly. And so... The other parts of growing and therapy is that it gets to mirror you, because then you get to identify what it is that I've always wanted versus what it is that I'm doing, and which part of those things are performative because I feel that is what will get me liked, or that is what's going to give me opportunities. And once you get over that,
I think I get
therapy,
because. In the same light that you're saying, like, what is dramatic? I've had to come to the point that I'm an extremely dramatic person.
It's beautiful.
I am drama. So, like, people cannot handle drama. It's like, and it's what I'm struggling to deal with. And which point of it do you have to tame yourself? Which part of you is just, is it because this body, this collection of cells, this neural network, this thing works in the program and in the frequency of drama?
But I also think, Silo, like there is a stereotype around manhood. There's a stereotype around how you're supposed to exist and even interactions.
100%.
So a lot of it, and I think for me it's a challenge for guys and even girls, because we also are part of perpetuating patriarchy, right?
Everybody.
And so when someone is different, and again, we are conditioned to be a particular way, and so when you don't fit into that, a whole lot of your years are spent trying to get into this line that you're obviously so clearly not falling into. And so it's almost like an act of rebellion to yourself, to actually just go, no, I'm not going to do that. But it's a lot of therapy. For me, again, I'm going to say therapy.
Are you familiar with the observer, the ego, and the subconscious? So have you gotten to the point where you realize that you are every single one of those 100%. Points? So the observer is the observed. Yeah. So I am angry. You are anger. Yeah. I am passionate. I am passion. Yeah. You know, it's so. And
you literally work in between those. Yeah.
So again, it's when I'm walking in the world and I intentionally, because also, in as much as I'm a horrible speller, I've learned that I can really construct words really well to get my point across. Yeah. So, again, people are always listening to respond because I find myself repeating the exact same sentence 5 to 7 times. Yeah. And then they go, okay, why does he keep... Wake up. Oh, no. Means, yeah. Because Silo's always against me. Or Slee doesn't like me. But I just had a bad week. You didn't know what was happening at home, dog. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not like I can, when you go to the how in sensitivity, I think I can see when somebody says not now, Silo. I can respect that.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna keep saying therapy, but I think it
No, you can carry on saying it because it is a therapy to deal with these things.
It is a process to deal with yourself because, and again, when you spoke about those three terms, there's always the ego. For me is very interesting because it's not that we're not aware that it's happening, and half the time, conditioning, right? So this is the role that I am playing. So you are passively doing life. And you're not conscious.
The game.
Right? You're just falling into whatever is there and whatever is expected of you to be. And so hence you'll hear people going, oh,
You're an animal waking up to get food and go to sleep.
Exactly.
And reproduce.
And so the moment you start realizing that, no, man, I have to wake up to myself. Before I'm waking up to anything else, I have to wake up to myself. So you're able to sit with all of those facets, the one being the ego. And there are times I'm aware of it. I'm like, particularly with my work.
Sometimes you need your ego just remind the dudes
that
who they effing with.
Yeah.
Because we got effing too.
And that's it. Like, and ego is good and ego is bad. It's good in the sense that it gives you no, man, I've really worked.
Everything, you have to moderate it because, essentially, we all moderate our egos at different levels.
Yeah.
The more you achieve, the more moderation of your ego you have to do. 100%. Like, and where it slips out, I don't mind it slipping out here.
Sure. But it's also...
Do you know who I am?
I also think like so when you rise in the ladder of the conditioning, right? Of like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and you really thrive in the line. So you master the line.
In the conditioned life.
And then you're like, okay, then when you get to whatever is perceived as the top, you realize how boring it is because it's very repetitive and
you realize how everybody's sleeping here.
100%.
It's like, I don't want to be with these rich guys.
So I'm all right. Like, I'm happy not to be.
Let me stick in this bubble. At least I can afford all the things that I want for 2 weeks in a month.
And then the rest we'll see what happens.
And then we'll make it to the next 2 weeks, and then yay, 2 weeks.
But it's falling strong too. I think we struggle.
It's falling and never holding on.
Yeah, we struggle to. I don't know. Like we struggle with falling. We struggle with failure. We struggle with, and it's all boils down. Jay. No, but it's also we're not scared of failing. We're scared of you noticing that I'm failing.
No, people that turns because here's what fear is. Okay. My spiritual journeying. I came back with these words.
Okay.
And I'll try explain it in the way I understand.
Yeah.
What fear is, what are you saying when you're saying Yasab? I have a fear.
Mm.
It's okay, what are you scared of? I'm scared of the dark. Okay. Why are you scared of the dark? I'm scared of the dark because bad things happen in the dark. Okay, what could happen in the dark? I could get robbed in the dark. Okay. Why do you say that? Because my mom almost got robbed in the dark. One time.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think if you go outside right now you're gonna get robbed. So it's you're no longer looking at what it really is. You're just looking at Gasab.
Yeah.
So
that's crippling.
So that's you holding on to something that happened in the past.
Yeah.
Saying it's because it happened in the past, it's gonna happen in the future, and then you living your life, making decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the ego. The ego is memory.
That's so true.
The ego is memory.
Okay.
Your subconscious? Yes, your subconscious has memory.
Okay.
But your ego
is what informs what you do.
Yes, because your ego is your personality.
Yeah.
And your personality is built by experiences.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is the past. Which is memory. Which is thought.
When your ego's bruised, that's actually good, yeah. Because when your ego's bruised, it's because you've been doing something that you've worked on for years. Like, right, this is what I know works. So if I walk into this room, this is how I charm them because it's worked 30 times before. And then when you walk into a room and you don't charm people,
and they like me when I do this.
And then when you do that thing and it doesn't work, it messes up with your ego because it goes, but it's worked previously, how dare you not? Because this thing works and it's been tried. I get it.
It's memory.
I get it.
So then memory creates thought because you can't think without words.
But then...
Yes, there's things that happen in your brains that don't have words.
Yeah.
But you cannot think because thinking is it's Ellen Watts, subvocally speaking to yourself in your head.
100%.
That's thinking. So that cannot happen without memory because there's language. And you need
Yeah.
memory to learn language.
Okay, but we can't also our experiences inform how we are. It would be dumb
No,
not
100%.
to.
Because again, you are the ego, you are the subconscious, you are.
Okay, but then how do you use those three things to your advantage?
Always be in the present. You'll know which one to use. Meditation. That's what meditation teaches.
That's 100%. I mean, therapy too.
Therapy helps you see the walls.
Yeah.
Meditation removes the ego because you're no longer thinking. The ego is created by thoughts.
Yeah. And it does make a positive impact, actually. There's just so many things
Just
that are
turn off the
different.
ego 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Or whenever you feel a lot, just turn it off for 10 minutes. Stop thinking.
Yeah, that's actually, but it's also not even, but there's this thing that people are doing now of like coining things, right? Like, and making them simple, like healing.
I think that's always happened, but that
You
always,
think so?
No, that goes to industry because you say healing, then there's a healing industry.
No, but I mean in the social media space where people are like, hashtag my healing journey, and they
It's
make
the same
it
thing
seem
as
like
work,
it's so,
though.
it makes it seem like it's so simple, as in like
not.
I'm gonna wake up today and look, I'm just going to heal today.
I always tell my girl, like, dog, like, and
It's
again,
ugly.
Again, like, this is why I don't give a fuck about the how. She'll be like crying and expecting a hug. So I'm like, no, dog, like, okay, what did you expect to happen? Like, no, for real, because nobody else is gonna tell this. I know this.
Yeah.
Nobody's this close to her to tell her this. So if I don't, who will?
That's true.
Who will tell her, Gucci dog? Okay, fine. Yes, I understand, Gucci. Because this is the fight we continually have. So
Yeah.
again, instead of been having the how lesson coming to me.
Yeah.
I get you, but in your greater scheme of, in 3 years, you won't care how I said this. You'll care 100% why I said it. Intentionally, when I don't care about the how, and I say the truth is more important than the how right now, I know that the how doesn't matter. Yes, I'm willing to fight with you over it and try to make you see why I ended up saying this way, because the how makes you feel like you're saying I'm attacking you, I'm making you feel like this.
Yeah, but I think it's important.
I understand, but then let's go into it. Why do you feel like that?
No, I hear what
Let's
you're
go
saying.
into it.
I hear what you're saying when you say part of it is how I receive, right? And so when you speak to me that way, I feel as though you're attacking me, and why do I feel like that? And so I can address that. But it doesn't remove the responsibility that you have in the fact that this person is crying or this person is hurting. At the time, it might not necessarily be the place for you to go, but like I think there's a level of insensitivity there that comes from I care, but akekho omunye umuntu ozokutshela. Ngiyazi nakusasa ekseni uzobe ngekho.
I think of it like this. Look, let's take it to the rather extreme.
Yeah.
A drug dealer you take to rehab 7 times. What are you gonna do the 8th time?
Sengizamile, bro, bye.
No, but you're a human. You're gonna shout at them at their worst.
Yeah.
So bring it back down to smaller things that affect large things in people's lives.
Yeah.
So when somebody important to you snaps at you, they're trying to make you aware of something.
Sure.
And yes, people have their weird ways of, but they're your friends. You love them for who they are.
Yeah, but I also I hear that.
And also, I guess generally I'm from the school of hard love.
And I think there's a lot to be said about that too, because I think
it's a trauma.
Yeah, I was about to say
I've dealt with.
I don't think you can fully say that into ihambile just because you've dealt, right? So healing is ongoing. Yeah, so a lot of the time 100%. You step in and out of things that were traumatic.
100%,
For example,
100%.
Myself in the context of a relationship.
Oh my gosh, you're horrible. I didn't even want to talk about your relationship drama.
No, but it was a me thing.
I know.
It was absolutely me. And I think...
I know, because you wanted a perfect guy.
I didn't want a perfect guy.
What was your thing? I thought you wanted a perfect guy. What was your thing?
My thing was I was very passive. Even from the hooking up to the... Not even hooking up, though. Like...
Yeah, I get what you mean. We're supposed to be flirting now.
And this is what is happening. So I then would want something different, but I would leave it to Silo to dictate how the relationship is going to go. Right?
But
And
so
so
and then you're
angisho
unhappy.
lutho kodwa yena wenza into ayenzayo, right? And so at the end, mayisethi umuntu vele besingajoli or something, I'm like, sir, you go away with somebody you're not dating.
Where'd you learn how that relationship behavior?
I learned it from my first relationship. No, and the reason why I say that is because my dad was really, really good. But I don't think that he equipped me for what would be in the world, that it wasn't going to be him, right? And so then my going naive.
So I said you wanted Mr. Perfect.
But my dad wasn't perfect. It's just that my dad was incredibly, incredibly kind and generous and just incredibly amazing.
You see, your dad deals with situations way differently from how CeeLo deals with situations.
So that completely different things, right?
See, my dad deals with situations the way CeeLo deals with situations.
But again, that is
the trauma.
So how do you break that cycle? And also because of your ego issue, right?
Okay.
And how you...
I don't have an ego issue.
No, it is absolutely an ego thing because you're very much aware of the fact that...
It's not an issue. Why is it an issue that my ego is so huge?
No, you can have a huge ego, but you can date back. So uyazi ukuthi your dad was like this. You know that you're like this. Tough love is a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway. And so
you're a girl too.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I am, but I don't know.
I say hard love. It's not like I was getting beaten, but like
I know, just clarity. But I think the way in which you then give out is the way that you received, right? And so part of healing is recognizing what did you need and what would have been better in terms of that time. And I'm not asking you a question. I'm just now allowing you some time to critically think. But
sure.
Like, how do you recognize what happened to you, and not because it was a horrible thing, but that trauma and how you play out. And then masucabanga ukuthi uzojustify ngendlela okhuluma ngayo komunye umuntu and then coin it as ngakusiza ngoba wena kwakusiza when it wasn't your trauma. Hold on.
Yeah.
So where your ego for me, and I'm getting issues, it's problematic, but where your ego for me is interesting is in that you can detail ukuthi ngiyayibona le threat come up, right? And yet you're still wanting to outpour to a certain extent similar things.
What do you mean similar
the
things?
Unkindness of the way that you speak. Wait.
I get you, yeah.
So because tough love yasebenza, and because umuntu and you justify ego again telling you ukuthi your behavior is permissible because when you approve of it. Cycle yako
yeah,
ego. So when I then say to you,
my style of life,
ngiyafika ngibuye emsebenzini and ngiyakhala because ngamkhonto yenzakalile, and when uzongitshela ukuthi when ucabanga ukuthi kuzokwenzakalana okwesithathu mhlambe kwenzeke, that's not what I'm looking for at the time, and maybe I need the honesty in a partner. I need that because I am more emotive.
Again, back to micro. It's happened. It sent this person to rehab 7 times.
Yeah, but it's fine. I think rehab also is an extreme example.
No, it's
compared.
It's I just want to show the micro of addiction, of everyday addiction habits,
right,
with the macro of addiction and where addiction leads to. So the micro affects the macro is when and again, it's the 7th time I'm saying, it's the 8th time I'm saying this person to rehab.
Basically, yeah.
Again, like, I'm here with you. I'm guiding you. I am. Let's go into this topic of really, because it's the easiest one to blow up.
Yeah.
I'm sitting with you. I'm making sure that there's somebody here to watch you on your hard days. Yeah. Well, but when you cannot just sit here.
Yeah.
Your mind is still so busy. You want to find a way for this person as they go to the toilet to go out and go get high.
Yeah.
So, again, the 8th time you're sending them to rehab, you will theater, and the 9th time, I don't know. Because at that point as well, how much is the trying because of your ego?
Look, I think in the context, there's the self, right? Where, again, very few, and I'm not going to say us because I don't want to sound that arrogant that I really think that I'm living out of myself and in myself. But I do think in part I now am. But again.
Okay.
But I think there's and the how for me is important, and there's a timing. So it's one thing for you in that moment.
Sorry, before you carry on, can you just repeat your last line?
What did I say?
The how for?
The how for me.
And that's where everybody, I think we separate a lot. I know that this is what I'm saying. I know that you do not have to take my words. Look. I know that.
Okay.
And you know that you have your own perspective and you have your way of seeing the things, and we can speak about the way. And
Yeah.
you say, in smaller things, away from the drug dealing. Just talk about
Yeah.
something more micro. I was
Yeah.
like, you don't like Bafana. South African football, young.
Yeah.
How could you not be patriot? You know how it's like we can have different views of the world.
Okay, but when we're sharing an experience of being partners, I don't think that
I think
there's a level of understanding. So there's one way of knowing this is how, and again, this is a common term, unjevel, right?
That's a horrible term.
No, it is. But hold on. What I'm trying to say is,
but I use my asshole for it.
You are just. But I also think that it's important. It's one thing when we exist and we're mates and it's like, okay, whatever, unje. But I think it's important in a relationship to understand. And part of it is going, nobody's an asshole like I am, which when you can say into like, so you can
I get offended when I'm not the biggest asshole in the room.
So it's unnecessary to be that to your partner.
And I'm in a lot of rooms where I'm not the biggest asshole in the room. Like sometimes I'm faking to being the biggest asshole in the room, knowing that the person who is the biggest asshole in the room is just quiet. This is a quiet soul, so I'll just take advantage of that.
But why? So
it's a fun operation software I run on.
Silo, it's so psychotic. Why are you doing that? I don't understand. I understand why you do that, but
the thing is, there's more people like me than there are other people. That's the real thing.
It's beautiful though, but I just think the way in which you were describing, the seventh time, you're like, I sing
you said that.
No, but I mean the way that you were saying was 7, so that's why then I tell you
because I'm not gonna the first time I'm aware of it, I'm not gonna be
so would it be different the way?
No, it'll be the way Xhakaza.
The first time.
Here's the thing. By the time I'm loud about it,
okay, so the first time
the first 7 times, bro.
Okay.
To the point where, you know what? I have to say this and collect data for a month. Because it depends how much you deal with somebody.
But I also, then that gives me context. Okay, then that makes sense.
No, 100%.
Because I thought you meant like,
no, I'm not again, like.
Are you sure?
The ego, the intellect. Those academia gives us intellect. And our ego is, the memories we hold.
100%.
Those if you look at those things as swords.
You
can't walk around.
You're so annoying because you genuinely want to just.
If you look at them as swords, you can't walk around solving.
You really want to be a bum about your
problem with swords.
Your intellect. It is so annoying because you also know that you hold a whole lot of information and so you have knowledge, right?
So I'm not walking around stabbing people. Why'd you step on my toe? Ha! No, it's like,
you know what that's called in psych. When somebody steps on you, is that the kind of person you want to be? You're like just always ready with the sword.
With the intellect. How could you do that? And it's like
diagnosing people.
It's like I'm not that person. I can that's weird and walk past. I've gotten to that
really
amazing parts where I can't get an omelet.
And I'm able to step out of, or not even get involved.
Anybody who I get involved with, I actually care about.
Is it?
I absolutely. And I don't get to that point unless in like, oh my gosh, no, this is socially we're not conditioned to deal like this, bro.
Yeah.
And it's gonna cause problems for me if you deal like this. We're like, let me teach this lesson. And I'm not gonna go slap somebody or stab somebody, but I'm just gonna be like, yo, dog, or not today.
Yeah. Has your path to who you are now? I mean, I haven't seen you since 2018, so it's been a long time. Yeah. I think it was 2018 or 2019.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It was long.
It doesn't matter. It was a long
Pre-COVID.
time. What has been the cost of your coming to yourself or having to do the work that you've done? Has there been a cost? Relationships, work, Yeah, I can see the ego coming there. I can see your eyes kind of trying to detail how well you're going to articulate this.
I'm going through the memories.
Okay.
Can you ask the question again?
Has there been a cost?
A cost?
Yeah.
Opportunity cost.
Opportunity, relationships, friendships, whatever, family, has there been a cost to your healing or recognizing self?
I think my every day I'm learning to articulate myself a whole lot better and just bullshit sure without offending people. But I like getting on the line where it could be offensive where you go. Because I found ways that's how I can grab somebody's attention. What did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But then I'm it's very interesting that I learned to deal with people like that. I get it.
Yeah.
Once I'm comfortable with you, I'm gonna push your buttons until you say stop.
Yeah. You've always.
When you're a religious person, I knew that you do not like people that speak illly of the Lord around you. So
didn't.
I use that against you to just push a button.
Yeah.
So now that button no longer works, how do you feel about that? Did you see? And I was doing it subconsciously then. Like I wasn't even doing it, but I kept doing it and I found a smarter way to do it. Yeah. Not just do it for the sake of doing it, but to do it with actual.
You used to really rile me up.
I'm an irritating person in general.
No, but I think it's also good because you draw out. I didn't appreciate it at the time when it was intense.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I don't even want to talk to you again.
Yeah.
Then you kind of go back and you're like, oh, he's just trash. But let's try again. He'll be better. But I think it's good because it allows you to question.
So much of anything is bad for you, even religion.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you agree?
Do
you agree? No. That's a basic statement. Too much water, too much food, too much chocolate, too much religion. Too much of anything is bad for you. You have to. Life is balanced. Well, I believe a good life is a balance of things.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I wouldn't say this 4 years ago, but I had to find myself within the context of church. A lot of people are.
Sorry. The camera cuts. The sound cuts. Anyway, we're gonna end it, and Amazing. I'm gonna bring Slee back, and she promised me to come with the podcast.
Yeah.
Great. Soon. Love it. Yeah. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
That was really cool.
It was really cool. We're gonna do more.
We have to definitely.
I think we need to do a smart one where we call people in, like a late night wine. What wine is everybody drinking?
Yes.
What wine are you drinking?
We're gonna have some wine, and I think it would be good to have a good. The other thing that I really like is like an informal thing. So I've got like those little, what do you call them?
Tarot cards.
Whatever. Yeah, that. But I've got questions, which like random stuff. So religion, and then it has a question about that, and it kind of gets people talking about.
We should get you on some psychedelics and get you reading.
No, but it's you pick up a card and it asks you a question.
Yeah.
And it's like very, very deep and personal and meaningful crap.
We'll talk about it next time. RadioDR.co.za, deeplyrooted.world. That's where you can catch all of our podcasts. Check out Boom Mike Wonder, a new podcast on RadioDR.co.za, done by Mikey D, Wanda, and Rupu. Yo, man, thank you so much for the support. We love you guys. We outie.
Yay.
Silindile Xhakhaza.
This is me. This is so cool.